Charlotte Motor Speedway. They're lean, they're mean, they're 5 to 7 horses, a man and machine. They're 4 wide before they start to slip and slide. The Coast to Coast Racing League 350A Modifieds, Pro Late Models, and the 360 Sprint Cars. We are in the home stretch of the 2025 spring season before we head to the summer season. Welcome to another edition of the Coast to Coast Racing League, and it's Monday night here, which means it's time for Monday Night Madness. We are at the Big E, the house that Earl built, Outdoor Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio. It's week number 9 of the 2025 spring season. We're glad you could join us here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Marty Sakala with you. Thanks for spending your Monday night with us. So last weekend, the final Monday before Super Dirt Modified Week took place, and we were at the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And did we have a great show? That without question, we had a great show all around in all 3 divisions. And Brandon Templeton took his first win of the season, dominating the race on the dirt track at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And we'll see if someone may even dominate, or we'll try and go for a couple of lead changes. As always, we begin with the Open 358 Modifieds. It's brought to you by Phenom Racing and Full Throttle Motorsports. Look at the point standings coming on in. This is not with the drops in effect. If we do get the drops in effect, though, beforehand, we will update it for you on the air. Sam Bachman with a 21-point lead on Clay Christopherson. Dean Reynolds is second. Dean Reynolds is third. Joseph Grandi is fourth, and Anthony Morano rounds out the top 5. First session underway here, and it's qualifying for our Open 358. First driver will watch the track, the driver of the Full Throttle Motorsports, 639, DK Dylan Kinsey. See your favorite drivers pop up at the bottom of your screen. 2 minutes to qualify. Put up your best lap as quick as you can. Driver the 639 making his way off of turn number 4. He'll set the bar, lap 1, 16:24. Trevor Giroux looking quick. He goes to the top, 16:209. Reynolds third, Dixon fourth, and Mason Hine round out the top 5 of the moment. Jeff Barker, quickest of all drivers in Sector 1. He goes third quick at a 16:26 in the 5:13. Making his way into turns number 3 and 4. Giroux still the quickest. Barker off the corner. He has a slower lap in him for right now. Let's go to John Tobias, the number 21. He is currently 11th quick. As Bud Milan, who just went 7th. Jesse Atkinson up to 4th. Sam Bachman, the purple in Sector 1. Quick time, Sam Bachman. He goes 16:09, 16:094 for the Samaconda. And that puts him to the top of the charts. Now we go to Kelly Wheeler in the number 11. He makes his way off at turn number 4. Is this a better in sector number 2? And it helps him out to the improve to 11th at a 16:41. But Sam Bachman, the quickest in qualifying with a 16:094. Trevor Giroux is second quick, 16:209. Dylan Kinsey third, 16:241. Jeff Barker fourth, 16:256. And Jesse Atkinson rounds out the top 5 at 16:312. So with that being said, we are ready to go here for heat race number 1. Heat race 1 brought to you by Gambler Motorsports. Here's a look at the starting lineup. On the pole, the Bandit, Randall Dixon, in car number 11 to his outside. Brian Dickens racing in the 122. Row number 3, the Bird to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513 to his outside. The Samaconda and the Super Dirt Week Big Block champion in our charity race last week. That is the Samaconda himself, Sam Bachman. Row number 3, it is the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83 to his outside, Bob DeGood in car number 7. Waiting for one driver to make the call here to grid. That, of course, is Brian Dickens making his return to coast action with us. We're glad you could join us here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as well as Slide Job Racing Network. If you're watching on either of those streams, let us know who you're rooting for. We'll give you a shout out live and on the air. Here's how a typical night of action works here for Coast to Coast. We just had qualifying go down. Heat races, we always invert the top 4 prior to taking the green flag. 8 laps. Normally with a car count over 24, top 4 drivers will transfer. But everybody makes the show. Winner of Heat 1 will start on the pole position. Our features tonight are each 30 laps, followed by the Renegades, which are 35 laps instead. Car count, I believe it's just under 20 here tonight. Phenomenal job to see. Phenomenal car count we had for Super Dirt Modified Week last week, presented by Dirt Car. And big credit goes out to Dean Reynolds for getting a huge bunch of drivers from not just the United States, but also from Canada. Just an absolutely incredible car count with phenomenal racing. Obviously talked about... Your big block winner was the driver of the 007, Sam Bachman. It was, I don't know if I've got the first name properly correct here, but nope, I do. Chad Lackey taking the win at Super Dirt Modified Week. I had to double check and make sure I was correct. I've been busy these past few days. A lot of baseball conference championships on my end, so I may have some stuff out of my head. Go one extra pace lap here before we take the green flag. Again, 8 laps. Everybody makes the show. Winner is on pole position here tonight. I know sometimes we get the female population tuned in. All the moms out there, hope you had a great Mother's Day yesterday. Pretty much just stayed home with the mom. She didn't really want to do anything, but she wanted to have a fun little game night. We have this little fun trivia game called Outsmarting. We've been playing a lot, and she just wanted to do that because we hadn't done it in a little while. So, all right, Heat 1, 8 laps. Winner on pole position for our 30-lap feature this evening. Let's go green. Dickens off to a good start. The Bandit, Randall Dixon, up the middle, trying to take away second spot from Sam Bachman. They're side by side into turn number 3. The Bandit getting the bite here off the corner. High side will be the place eventually during the features. Dickens leads lap 1. Dixon second. Bachman now peeks downstairs for that runner-up spot. They're 3 wide for 4th though. Jeff Barker in the middle. Brandon Dittmer lifting off. He stays put. And the caboose of the field down in the 6th position. Off at turn number 4, DeGood continuing to edge Barker for right now for that final transfer spot. Ooh, got a little sideways, had to catch it, may allow Barker to pull up with the front nose. Side by side off at 2 for just a moment. It's the 7 that comes out with the edge for right now. Still 3 wide for the spot as Barker and DeGood nearly rub nerf bars. DeGood's up in the wall. Dittmer forced to lift because of it. Let's go back up to the front though. Dickens continuing to lead after starting from 2nd in the grid. Dixon fading back just a little bit. Here's the Samaconda, high, wide, and handsome off at turn number 4. Bachman moves up to 2nd as we're halfway home, 4 up and 4 down. Brian Dickens, the 122, trying to get hammered down, racing to go back and back. New paint job on that 122. Has been known for the pink and yellow paint jobs in the past. This time it's a purple and black with the Yingling logo. Oh, we got trouble. The back 3 have gone around. DeGood, Barker, and Dittmer. We'll go to a quick replay, show you what happened here with 2 to go in the heat. Well, that's your back 3 that all got involved in this. Looks like did Dittmer catch the back of DeGood? Yep, just yeeted him there. And Barker has nowhere to go. DeGood, luckily, 360, not too much damage. But Dittmer and Barker each catch the brunt end of it. Final lap underway in heat race number 1. Dixon peeks downstairs on Bachman. 007 able to clear off for turn number 2, but out in front. Here comes Dickens off the final corner. The 122 takes the win here in heat 1. Bachman 2nd, Dixon 3rd. We wait for Bob to go to finish 4th. Barker 5th and Dittmer in 6th. Checking in, Anthony Morano, the Magic Ant-Man. Hope you're doing well, Anthony. As always, he's rooting for Full Throttle Motorsports game and Sam Bachman. Megan checking in, as always, rooting for Dean. A quick pop in before she goes back to work, and it hopes everyone drives well. They will. So, and on Slide Job Racing Network, Yo-Yo talking about jelly beans. I'm not a jelly bean guy, unfortunately. I've never been into jelly beans. I'm not a big sugar guy, actually, or no, I should say I'm not a big candy guy, in particular. All right, move to heat race number 2, brought to you by Regency Home Inspection. Starting lineup has Kelly Wheeler on the pole in car number 11. 2 is outside. Bud Molyneux in the 883. Row 2, the Pink Panther. Jesse Atkinson making a rare appearance in a modified and coast-to-coast nights. 2 is outside. The Philly Flyer, Trevor Giroux in the 075. Final row has Scott Zinacker in the 143. Next to him is 100 Grand Joseph Granny in the 518. Field making their way through turns number 3 and 4. Should see the 1 to green this time by. Winner of this heat race will start on the front row, next to Brian Dickens. All right, field making their way through 3 and 4. Set for the green here in heat race number 2. Nice start from Kelly Wheeler, has the lead. Trevor Giroux trying to counter back down here on 883, but the Philly Flyer looks to go 2 for 1. Up the hill goes Giroux. Wheeler hanging on for the lead for right now, and they bang wheels. Slide job by Giroux. Wheeler able to counter it back here as they continue to go door to door for the race lead. Molyneux, Atkinson duking at it for the third spot on the racetrack, and everybody makes the show here this evening. Wheeler not in slide job territory, not clear enough to throw it deep. Giroux able to clear off the corner in the FTM number 75. And now Molyneux trying to hang on. He throws the slider on Wheeler, takes away second. The 11 trying to counter it back, on board with Jesse Atkinson. Wheeler edging out Atkinson for that third spot for right now. Up the hill to 127 for just a little moment. Wheeler's still in that third spot. Molyneux second, Giroux leading. Had no call, by the way, from Joseph Grandy to grid, for those wondering, so that's why he is not in the field. We have to guess that Grandy's starting from the back here. Night. Giroux, meanwhile, has opened up the lead. Half second, though. 2 laps to go. Just needs no mistakes, and he'll go scot-free to the finish here. Look at Scott Zanacker. Went way deep on Jesse Atkinson. Got him a little bit sideways there off of turn 2. So they're able to get side by side. Atkinson trying to clear. Final lap underway for the Philly Flyer, Trevor Giroux. Making his way down into turns number 3 and 4. Checkers wave. Giroux takes the win, Heat 2. Molyneux second, Wheeler third, Atkinson fourth, Zanacker fifth. Alrighty, here we go for heat race number 3. This is how they line up. Brian Moore Sr. on the pole in the 55. Heat 3, by the way, brought to you by Maurer Farm Management, official sponsor of the Retreads Division. Again, Moore on the pole. Next to him, Mason Hine in the 89. Row number 2 is Dean Reynolds in the 79. To his outside, it's DK, Dylan Kinsey in the 639. Final row, John Tobias in the 21. And look at this rare appearance in a modified. The Lowline Master, Brennan Lacey. Welcome back to Coast competition in that 114. So look at that spoiler and see what it says. I don't know. We'll see as he makes his moves from the back to the front. Have 1 lap to green here this time by. Again, big shout to Dean Reynolds, point on Super Dirt Modified Week, the real MVP of it all last week. Unfortunately, his Super Dirt Car Series will not be running at Delaware this week. That turns all the attention for his series over to Weedsport Memorial Day weekend for the Heroes Remembered 100, and I'm looking forward to being a part of that broadcast too. We're working the undercard with CRSA. Final heat race. Winner starts inside of row 2. Moore and Hine are set to bring us to green. Slide job for the 55, and it's 3 wide for second. Look at DK. 4 wide off for 2. Reynolds nearly squeezes Brendan Lacey into the wall. The Lowline Master trying to do magic up top. He's all the way up to second. What a car that Brendan Lacey has. He was coming out to say surprise to everyone out here. On board with Dylan Kinsey. Oh boy, Brian Moore, you got company. Look at this, Lacey out in front. And now it's 3 wide again with Reynolds downstairs. Lacey able to clear. Moore's got company for second. The slide up there on DK. All this while, Brendan Lacey pulling away. They're still 3 wide for second. Slide job by Kinsey. He's trying to throw the needle, and he hooks the FTM drivers. And Moore gets taken out. He costs himself. That took guts. That really did. This does not lead to any glory. All right, I want to look at the chase here. I don't like this. It says, oh, he's going all, I'm trying to think who said that. Hell yeah, brother, in WWE. Oh yeah. Going all Stone Cold Steve Austin there. Anyway, the FTM teammates battling for second now. Dean Reynolds and Dylan Kinsey. 2 laps to go. Kinsey testing the slider line. See how it's going to work here. You're on board with him. But Reynolds utilizes the cushion. Get high side will be the place to be. Later on in this feature, when it's all single file, if you pull up to a car, it's going to be slide job or nothing. But look at this car in the Stephen Goldner Racing 114. This car shot out of a cannon, didn't even use it in qualifying. And he makes his way through turns number 3 and 4. Brendan Lacey starting third tonight. He wins Heat 3. Reynolds second, Kinsey third, Hine fourth, Tobias fifth, and Brian Moore in sixth. So that'll put warm-ups in the books. We will step aside and go to break. Stay with us. The Coast to Coast Racing Network first feature coming up next. Back here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network as the warm-ups continue here at Eldora Speedway. Sam Bachman the quickest at a 16:39. Brendan Lacey second, 16:41. Bud Molyneux third, 16:42. Brian Dickens is fourth, 16:43. That same time goes as well for Dylan Kinsey. Alrighty, we're ready to go for feature time here. And we are ready to go for the first feature of the night. Let's meet the field here and give you your starting lineup. On the pole, it's Brian Dickens of the 122. To his outside, the Philly Flyer, Trevor Giroux. Row 2, Brendan Lacey in the 114 to his outside, Sam Bachman in the 007. Row number 3, Bud Molyneux in the 883. Next to him, it's Dean Reynolds in the 79. Row 4, the Bandit, Randall Dixon in the 011. Next to him, it's Kelly Wheeler in the 110. Running off the top 10 tonight, Dylan Kinsey, DK in the 639, and Bob DeGood in the 7. Row 6, the Pink Panther, Jesse Exon in the 127. To his outside, it's Mason Hine in the 89. The 7th row, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83. Next to him, Scott Sinacker in the 143. Row number 8, John Tobias, the 21. Next to him, it's Jeff Barker, the Brew to Beast, the 513. Final row this evening, Joseph Grandy, 100 grand, the 518. And Brian Moore Sr. in the 55. No one dropping to the rear here tonight, so all is well, and we are just about ready to go. Pick to win here, I gotta go Brendan Lacey for third. He is just that wicked fast, but I'm interested in seeing how his car will perform in the slicker conditions. Alrighty. Here we go. Time to shake and bake for the first time tonight. Brian Dickens, Trevor Giroux, bring us to green. It's time to get it on. Lacey wasting no time with the Flatline Racing Bodies green flag. We're 3 wide for the race lead. Lacey trying to go 2 for 1. Throws the slide job there on Trevor Giroux. Up the hill and into the wall. The Philly Flyer counters it back. It's Lacey leading the opening lap. Another slider here by Giroux. Nearly pins Lacey in the wall. They stay side by side. Field makes their way to turn number 3. Giroux with a chance to go for the slider line here on Brendan Lacey. Caution flag waves. First yellow tonight. And we got a crash with Kelly Wheeler, Jeff Barker, John Tobias, Bob DeGood, Scott Zanacker. Oh, we got one upside down. That's Zanacker in the 143. How did all this break out? Watch Wheeler in the 11. This looks like this was just outside the top 5. It was. Wheeler gets clipped, bumped by DeGood in just a stack-up situation. Zanacker just goes hard in the wall, and he goes on his lid. Right aboard John Tobias here. First caution on lap 2. Mason Hine getting sideways too, so he's safe. Look at Tobias, also almost gets upside down. Bob DeGood with nowhere to go. Go one more here before we go back to green. Scott Zanacker. Wheeler moved to the back end, and we are wasting no time. We've got the field doubled up, ready to go back to green. Lacey selects the bottom here on this restart. We are set for our first restart of the night.
Green flag, green flag.
Lacey able to hold serve here, throws the slide job on Brian Dickens. Second spot is his. Giroux, though, stuck in that third spot. So Dickens able to get the advantage there by restarting in the third position. Bachman fourth, side by side for fifth. Reynolds, Molyneux, and Kinsey, they're 3 wide off the corner. They touch a little bit. Reynolds edging out for fifth of the line. DK with ascendant deep here underneath, testing the bottom waters. Let's go back up to the front here. Lacey still holding a consistent lead on Brian Dickens. Gap at 0.2 of a second. Lacey may have clipped the wall there for just a moment, but holding the high line to make sure he gets the better speed on corner exit. Look at Giroux! Came out of nowhere! Slide job for a second with 3 wide for the lead. Just surprised everyone by storm. And now it's the FTM boys trying to go to work here. Bachman, ooh, contact, Dickens, oh, sideways there. They've actually helped him out going to turn number 1 as he saves it. And now Bachman looks underneath, contact again. This time Giroux squeezed up on the wall by Brian Dickens. So they're side by side for a spot. Brandon Dittmer, Dylan Kinsey, battle for 7th. Great start for the Spider Monkey. He started back in 13th and is running 7th. He's gained the 2nd most spots. The first one is Joseph Grundy, 2 cars behind him in the 518. Field here, ripping the top shelf here on this racetrack. Always the pretty much the best plate, the only line to run here. You can always try the bottom out, but again, you have to throw the slide job if that's the case. A couple of drivers running their best laps, including Kinsey in 8th, Kelly Wheeler in the 14th spot. Quickest car, though, on the racetrack belongs to Sam Bachman at a 16:53 in 4th. Dickens with company now for 2nd. That's Giroux all over him. On board with the 75. Dickens trying to set this up. Decides to leave her in the middle. Now slides a little bit up the hill. Lacey up on the wall. Dickens to take advantage of it. New leader of the 122, Brian Dickens. And Dickens slides up on Brendan Lacey. Now, what do you do here if you're Giroux? Underneath for 2nd. Lacey, good corner exit. Lacey up on the wall, though, once again. And here comes Sam Bachman. Lacey with no yaw on turn 3. He loses a pair of spots down to 4th. Lacey may be in trouble. And he's side by side with Bachman for the bottom step of the podium. This is where, if you're the leader, it's your best friend right now. If you're in the 2nd place spot, you're hoping to close in and try and make up a setting duck so you can set up the slide job. Bachman still trying to get the 3rd spot away. Caution flag waved, 2nd time tonight. We got Zanacker around the 143 from the looks of it. Look at the replay. Just a big slide job there. Tobias catches him in the wall. Everyone just could not lift. Here's the onboard. Time to go back to the green flag here. Watch for the aerial shot as Dickens and Giroux, row 1, Bachman Lacey, row 2, Reynolds Molyneux, row 3, Dittmer Grandy, row 4, Atkinson Kinsey, round out the top 10. Here we come, back to the green flag. When does Giroux fire? Oh, excuse me, that was Dickens. He fired now. He's able to hold serve. Giroux clearing for 2nd. Lacey trying to look low, forced to left. Bachman looking for a chance at that bottom step of the podium. It's a his off at turn number 2. Not just yet. They stay side by side. We had trouble just moments ago. Randall Dixon and John DeBias. No caution flag. We stay green. Lacey edging out for third there at the line on Sam Bachman. And we're back to caution for Randall Dixon. And it looks like he may have been stopped or turtled. Look at what happened. Ooh, Wheeler caught him and DeBias forced to break it. Man, Bob D. good with a great save. And Dixon may have spun out once again. If not, he just pulled her to a stop. And with the cars coming, that left no choice but the caution flag to fly. Yeah, I think that was the case. Go on board DeBias here. Try this once again here. So we come back to green. Single file, rest of the race. Brian Dickens the leader. Trevor Giroux second. Brennan Lacey third. Sam Bachman fourth. Dean Reynolds rounding out the top 10. A look at the biggest movers here on the racetrack. And it belongs to Joseph Grandy, up 9 spots.
Green flag, green flag.
Dickens wasting no time out in front of the field. Lacey wants second. Dean Reynolds still around the top 5. He's got company for that spot by Dylan Kinsey. Here goes, I believe that is Grandy on Molyneux in the race for the 7th spot. Up the wall in background goes Brandon Dittmer in the 83 hanging on. Oh boy, they are leaning on each other off in turn number 4. For position number 7, Grandy sent it on Molyneux just out of nowhere. And now the 518 up 10 spots to 7th. Now he's trying to chase down Dylan Kinsey, and that's 6:39 at the line. 10 laps to go here for Brian Dickens. Quarter of a second lead here on Trevor Giroux. This is going to get tight here to the finish. Third start of the season for Brian Dickens in this Open 358. Best finish 7th at Limaland earlier this year. He's never won in this Open 358 series before. Coming across the line, he's 8 laps away from doing so, but he's got to hold off the Philly Flyer and a powerhouse team. 8 laps remaining to get hammered down racing, looking to go back-to-back tonight. And a lot of it you can thank back to the invert in the heat races. Here comes Giroux, though. Slide job for the race lead. Philly Flyer can't hang on. Dickens leading the line with 7 to go. Slide job by the 122. Giroux countering back there off the corner. Does he bonsai to the bottom? Yes, he does. Dickens trying to defend. Another slide job by the Philly Flyer. Can Dickens counter it back? He cannot. Giroux leads with 6 to go. And now it's Dickens' turn to throw the slide job there up on Giroux. And this is Giroux's corner. It's slide jobs to the Eldora once again. Giroux has Dickens cleared. I don't know if Dickens is going to be able to throw the slider with 5 laps to go. He leads her up top, but the caution flag flies. Brian Moore and Jeff Barker get together. And that's not what you wanted there if you're the 55 of the 513. Slight contact. Oh, Wheeler hooked Brian Moore and up in the air and upside down goes the 55. It's a nasty crash. Nowhere to go. He lifted, but he never even tried to crank the wheel to the left, trying to miss it. Right aboard Brian Moore Sr. So Dickens obviously with a couple of wins in his career since we went to Sim Racer Hub, which tracking his stats all the way back to 2021. 13 wins at least, but I would have to guess there's a lot more than 13. Lights are off. We're coming back to green. Trevor Giroux, the race leader. Philly Flyer looking for win 1 of the season. His best finish is second at Lernerville and Limaland. Is this the night that he can do it? About to find out. In fact, he's actually never won in this series either. He's got 4 seconds, but he's won in this league in the past, though. We're back under the green flag. Giroux looking for career win number 14. Brendan Lacey doesn't think it's over yet. Trying the top on Brian Dickens. Does he look underneath? No, he follows the 122. Laudia jockeying for positions all around. Reynolds trying to make a move on Sam Bachman for the 4th spot. Brian Dickens all over the Philly Flyer. 2 sticks in the air, 2 laps to go. Can the 122 do something about it? These 2 drivers looking for their first win in the Open 358s. A bunch of targets on the back of Trevor Giroux. Off for 4 though. White flag waves, final lap. Giroux leads by 3 car lengths. The driver of the Full Throttle Motorsports Super Nerd Car Series 075 making his way through turns number 3 and 4. We've got a first time Open 358 winner. Trevor Giroux takes the checkered flag and wins. Dickens second, Lacey third, Bachman fourth, Dean Reynolds rounds out the top 5. So the fire ignites for Trevor Giroux. His first win in this series. 14th of his career. He obviously has one of the 358s, the big blocks, as well as the Pro Late Models. Look at the entire FTM game swarming him to congratulate him on the win. You love it for him. You hate it, though, for Brian Dickens and Brendan Lacey, who each had great cars this evening. So we will get the rest of our top 3 on in here, and then we will go ahead and begin with the proceedings. All right, we got Brendan Lacey in here, our 3rd place finisher. We'll bring him up. Brennan, I feel so bad for you, man. First off, great to see you back with us in Coast to Coast. But what a hot rod you had, especially in qualifying and heats. What more did you need in the feature?
Oh, hell, just to put rookie stripes on that car because, yeah, I'm a little out of sorts there, Marty. A little bit.
Was the wall contact he had really a big factor in what happened?
No, I'd say it's more me not being, hell, it's been 2.5 months since I've been on here, so getting used back to things, just to get back in the feel of how everything reacts, I'd say. But, you know, I got to, you know, when my heart beats up a little bit because I haven't been in one for a bit, you know, you mess up. So
yeah.
You can thank Busch Light a little bit for that one there. So.
Well, they are a sponsor on your race car, so. What setup did you use tonight? Was it the Swan baseline setup, or what'd you use tonight?
Well, that was one that Goldner threw together back in the day. Nothing new. Kind of some old stuff that we ran before that was decent. And hell, I don't know what to throw in these things. I don't run them, so we just kind of threw it out there and tweaked it a little bit. But hell, it ended up working out a little bit for us.
Yeah, you had a hot rod in qualifying, well, not in qualifying, but you had a hot rod in the heat races, that's for sure, and early in the race. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Big shout out to Stephen Goldner Racing. I appreciate him and Moonin and Barry. Glad to be back on here. It's been a bit, so let's see if we can get back in the shape of things. And hell, we'll even try our luck in a wing car and see if I'm any good anymore. So.
Alrighty, sounds good. Rebels for you, or I don't know if you're set for Rebels or if you're in the A division locked in.
Luckily, I still get a championship provisional, so we'll take any bit we can get there.
All right, sounds good. Alrighty, Brennan. Best of luck later on tonight.
Appreciate you, Marty.
All right, Brennan Lacey, the low line master, in third. Let's go to Brian Dickens in second. Again, Hammer Down Racing was looking for back-to-back wins. Brian came so short. What more did you need for Trevor?
That's a dang good question. Them runs he was getting up off the top that I couldn't quite muster up, but no, that I had a blast, man. That's about it.
Were those was that yellow not what you wanted, or did you think that after he passed you were going to regain a spot on him?
I definitely didn't want a yellow because I mean, honestly, I got to keep my groove going. I get out of sync when those cautions happen, especially on these tracks like this.
Well, you had a great car tonight, that's for sure. So before we let you go, who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Got to thank the Hammer Down Racing guys been with for a long time. Kurt, BT, and Joe. Coast to Coast Racing League. You, Marty, on the broadcast. Just everybody at C2C who does everything behind the scenes. Got to thank the Dirt Track Bank. That's about it, man. Just had a blast.
Awesome, man. Well, hey, great job tonight. Great run. Best of luck later on tonight.
Thanks, man.
All right, that's Brian Dickens in second. And now we go to Trevor Drew, the Philly Flyer. Trevor, congratulations. I know you've won the past, but that was your first ever Open 358 win in this series. How's it feel?
Man, it feels good. It's had a fast car tonight and definitely wanted to do something with it. Man, this setup we're running, it's just unbelievable, and this is definitely one of my favorite tracks. So, happy to get it done. Man, Brian was quick. I didn't, I think lap like 19 or 20, maybe a little later, but I thought I used up my stuff a little too much, and then I just kept getting really crazy runs off the top, and I was just telling Brian I was telling myself I had to take him somewhere, so I just throw some sliders, and he was crossing me up, and it was a good battle. But I actually didn't know this was my first win for a Monday night, so definitely happy to get it done.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought I was looking at your car as well. I thought when I was watching the umpire on Brian Dickens, it was targets on your spoiler, but no, it was actually that Canadian maple syrup that helped you win the race.
Oh hell yeah, it did. It's oh yeah, it's gotta have that Canadian maple syrup on these tires. Don't tell nobody, but that's the secret around these parts. So yeah, man, it feels good. That was one hell of a battle. I was just talking to Brian, man. He's fun to race against. He knows that limit between over aggressive and being too shy, I guess you could say. He's found that really good middle ground. He's fun to race against. It's man, I just told him my heart was racing the whole race. That was a blast.
Yeah, take me through that pass for the win on that slide job on Brian.
Man, honestly, I had Scotty in my ear. He was watching, and he said throw a slider in 3 and 4, and I threw the slider in 3 and 4, and it felt amazing because I normally throw sliders in 1 and 2 here. So he was telling me to do it in 3 and 4 instead, and I did it, and I was like, wow, that was miles better than 1 and 2. And then Brian crossed me up, and I went underneath, threw another slider, and then he crossed me up, threw another one, but kept it to the middle this time, and the car just bit really hard, and was able to get a good enough gap to the point where he maybe could have sent one in there for a Hail Mary, but it would have been close. But yeah, as soon as I stuck it to the middle for that short slider to kind of block that crossover, man, the car just stuck and it was gone. So, yeah, this car was on rails tonight for sure.
Who do you want to give shout outs to?
Oh, I gotta give shout out to all the guys at FTM first and foremost, man. It's it's a pleasure being on this team, man. It's just got my first win with these boys just not too long ago, and I won a championship last night, another race last night too, and then another race tonight. So it's finally starting to see some improvements in my driving ability being with these guys, and like I said, it's a great group to be a part of. They're very helpful and supportive. So shout out to each and every one of them. Shout out to Anthony in the chat here rooting us on. Shout out Scotty, man. I don't know if we could have got it done without Scotty tonight. It's he actually had some really helpful tips and just things he's learned along the way. So shout out Scotty, man. It was that was some good info there. Appreciate him. Shout out Brian, man. That was some fun racing. Shout out Brennan. I think he would have definitely had something for me. I think he was just getting into the wall there a little bit. And then Sam and Dean and Dylan, some great runs for the boys here. Shout out Expert Installation, Castleberry Flagstone, Swan Speed Shop. Samaconda says running that Samaconda special tonight. It's that thing was on rails, so shout out Sam, Shaggy TV, JRV Designs, everyone on this ride, man. Dean Reynolds with the Super Dirt Car Series. Happy to park all these guys in victory lane tonight. Shout out you, Marty, for doing this stuff for us, and shout out Venom. I'm pretty sure it's Venom and FTM that go half on this. So shout out those guys over there. Great group. But yeah, I think that's it. Looking forward to the next one here.
Awesome, man. Congrats on the win. Well done. Hopefully we'll see you later tonight, if not later this week.
Thanks, Marty.
Trevor Drew, the Philly Flyer, first time Open 358 winner. We'll take our first break of the night. Stay with us on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Gets on the champion, trying to be a
bit of a hiatus, so let's get. Tonight when we talked about it.
outpouring of love was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive, so having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Welcome back here to the Coast to Coast Racing Network. It is now time for our Developmental Rebels division. And we're looking forward to a great show with them. Good car count here tonight for the Rebels. In fact, a much better car count than we have had in the past. Glad to see the drivers show up. 12 Rebels showing up. Remember, this is our division where we take the top 5 out of each division and promote them to the Renegades, but it's all depending on their IL. Last week, first-time winner, by the way, in the Rebels division. How about this man, Scott Rayholm, taking advantage of a battle for the lead where 2 drivers got involved in an accident, and Rayholm picked up his first ever Rebel sprint car, and a popular one, in the virtual garage. Hey, speaking of sprint cars, by the way, you know, one of our sponsors in this series from time to time is the Ohsweken Speedway. Who is going to the World of Outlaws show Wednesday and Thursday? Let me know. I, a New Yorker, will be making the trip with a couple of buddies they are working the race. I'm going just for fun. I'm not going to cover the race. I'm going to just have fun, watch the cars, hang out with some people. If you are going, let me know. I want to do a little bit of a hangout before the races are at like an intermission at some point during the undercard action. I want to meet a bunch of you guys like we did back in Knoxville. I want to do that again. We can do it here at Ohsweken. So let me know. Gary off for quick. It's 13-13. Zach Chapman looking pretty quick. First lap we're hearing did not go for the driver of the number 72. Offense still the quickest, 13-3-32. Here comes Shaggy off for turn 4. Quickest in sector number 2. To the top. Quick time. 13-2-23 for Shaggy. 1-3-2-2-3. Dylan Kinsey makes a move up to second quick. Here's Cale Vixler in the 789. And he moves up to the second spot. Maurer off at turn number 4. Across the line. Stays in 7th. Here's slide job. Scotty off for turn number 4. Does he have a better lap in him? Yes, he does. 6:13:45. A couple of drivers across the line for the first time. Bud Molyneux. Steven Fernberg is 5th quick. Molyneux is 11th. Let's go to the 29 as he makes his way through 3 and 4. Oh, quickest in sector 2. Is this the moment? No, 13:35 in 5th. And so that will do it here for qualifying. Here are the times. Zach Chapman, quickest man in qualifying today. 12.223, 13.223. Cale Bixler second, 13.322. Dylan Kinsey third, 13.323. Gary Offord fourth, 13.332. And Stephen Ferber fourth, 13.346. A lot of twos and threes in all this. You notice that amongst the top four, it's all a 1, a 2, or a 3. That could signify something tonight. See who's checking in here. Butters, Jason Butterfield checking in rooting for Venom Racing. And Bud Molyneux. Anthony Morano says Sam is going to be the happiest man right now. And FTM very happy that they had 3 in the top 5. Alrighty. We are set to go. First heat race of the night. Brought to you by Gambler Motorsports. Here's a look at the starting lineup. On the pole, side job, Scotty. Scott Rayome in the number 4. And 2 is outside. It's the 29 of Steven Fernberg. Row number 2, DK. Dylan Kinsey in the 639. 2 is outside. Shaggy Zach Chapman in the 72. Final row, Steve Maurer in the 888. And next to him, Bud Molyneux in the 883. See the wing being moved in the back of that Venom Racing machine. First of 2 heats tonight for the Rebels division. Everybody makes it into the show tonight. One lap till we take the green flag. Winner on the pole for our 30-lap feature. Maurer starting for the back. We are green. Good start for the 29 of Steven Fernberg. Chapman is second. Rayome in the 3rd spot. Here comes Molyneux trying to grab 4th from Dylan Kinsey. Lap 1 at the line led by the 29. Chapman dominating through 1 and 2. Already up 2 spots. Trying to close in on perhaps his arch nemesis here for the championship lead. They stay wheel to wheel for the 4th spot. Molyneux and Kinsey. DK trying to get a bite off at turn number 2, but Molyneux able to clear. Kisses the wall for just a second. Chapman the quickest car on track at a 13.29. Again, the diamond working pretty good for Shaggy, but not able to make the pass. Again, I feel like it's going to take a slide job, even with a tacky track with the sprint cars, to grab the race lead. Halfway home in Heat 1. And Shaggy loses some time here to Scott Rayome, who's 4 times back. Oh, both of them caught the wall, and Zach's got a problem with the steering. We'll see if this car can at least steer. And it can for now, so somehow he's hanging on. And so Chapman stays put in the 5th position. So Fernberg with a huge lead now of 1.8 seconds on Dylan Kinsey as the sun starts to set. Here comes Fernberg, the points leader off for turn 4, taking the win here at Outdoor. He's on pole tonight. Kinsey second, Rayom third, Molyneux fourth, Chapman fifth, and Maurer in sixth. Now moving on to heat race number 2, brought to you by Regency Home Inspection. Star lineup has the captain on the pole, Gary Taylor in the 34, next to him, Brian Moore Sr. in the 55. Row number 2, Gary Offutt in the 94, next to him, Cale Bixler in the 789. Final row, Mason Hine in car number 89 to his outside, John Tobias in the 21. Winner starting the outside of row number 1 here tonight. And we're set to go green.
Green, green, green.
Taylor and Moore side by side. The captain sliding up the track. Can he give Cale Bixler a line? They nearly touch. Cale lefts, goes up to the wall. Offa makes the move up to the 3rd spot. Off the corner, Moore Sr. leads lap number 1. Taylor all over him, trying to grab the race lead. Bixler off it, still do get up for the 3rd spot. Mason Hine in that 89, diving in through 1 and 2. Let's see if he can maybe thread the needle here. Ooh, big slider from Gary, and he pays the price. And he goes flipping violently. Cale caught him there, and down goes the 94. Here's a look at the replay. There, and look at this nasty sidewinder off the catch fence. Moore Sr., though, starting second in this heat race. Quickest car on the track at a 13:37. And him and Gary Taylor is the closest battle on track to the race lead. Let's go on board for a lap with the captain as he tries to keep digging. Checkered flag is out as Brian Moore Sr. takes the win in Heat 2. So Moore on the outside, the front row. Taylor second, Hine third, Bixler fourth, and Tobias in fifth. Gary Offutt finishing sixth. Step aside and go to break. When we come back, feature time of the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Back here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network, where it's almost feature time here. Warm-ups wrapping up. Steven Fernberg, quickest driver on the track at a 12.513. Second, 13.513, excuse me. Zach Chapman second, 13.6. Dylan Kinsey third, 13.62. Scott Riom fourth, 13.69. And fifth is Brian Moore Sr. at a 13.70. Set to go for feature time here. Let's meet the starting lineup. On the front row, Steven Fernberg in the 29. Next to him, Brian Moore Sr. in the 55. Row number 2, Dylan Kinsey in the 639. And the captain, Gary Taylor, in the 34. Row number 3, the 4 of Slide Job Scotty, Scott Riom. Next to him, Mason Hine in the 89. Row number 4, Bud Molyneux in the 883. Next to him, Kale Bixler in the 789. Rounding out the top 10, Shaggy Zach Chapman in the 72. And John Tobias in the 21. Final row, Steve Maurer in the 888. And Gary Offutt in the 94. Field rolling off as we're getting set to go racing. So set to go racing here. Top 5 drivers pending IL will move up into the Renegades tonight. Well, for the second time tonight, it is time to shake and bake. Rebels are set to go green. 700 horses set to thunder to life. Kinsey and Moore go green. It's time to get it on. Flatline Racing Body's green flag is out. Brian Moore Sr. takes the early lead over Gary Taylor. The 55 lead the opening lap, but we are immediately yellow. John Tobias, Cale Bixler, Steven Fernberg, and Mason High. This is a late yellow. And one of them has lost the top wing. That's Cale. Ooh, did Molyneux catch Hine in turn 1? Yes, he did. Ooh, Bixler, just an odd inside shot. Hine, I think the 89 car may have flipped. He did! If not, just barely. John Tobias on board. Set for the restart here as the field all single filed out. We'll have one lap complete. Kill Bixter using that quick repair and, or if not, didn't you? Yeah, use the quick repair and is a lap down. Here we go, back to the green flag. Kinsey the leader, Moore second, Rayom third, Taylor fourth, Zach Chapman already up to fifth after starting from the back early. Got trouble in the back, and we got Cale Bixler upside down again, and same for Bud Molyneux. Don't know if seen anyone go upside down twice in a single race. This started back for a couple of laps. Watch Maurer and Tobias. Maurer loses it there, and then there was contact in the back. On board with Mason Hine. Bud Molyneux on board. Nowhere to go. Alrighty. We'll try this restart once again. It's a single file. Dylan Kinsey the leader, Brian Moore Sr. second, Scott Rayom third, we're back to green. Kinsey able to hold serve here for right now. Here's Scott Rayom, Zach Chapman, battle for third spot is on. We got another crash, and this time it's Gary Taylor upside down. Good grief. Steve Maurer also involved in this too. See what happened. It's Maurer in 34. The teammates simply touched it around. They both won, and Taylor pays the price by flipping. And they were just hooked. Their caution flag flies, and we can't even complete a single green flag lap in here. So, we'll try it again then. Lights are off, going green this time by. Chad Cote checking in. They'll be there. Yes, the Outlaws will be there this week at Osh Weekend. I will be there, like I mentioned earlier. And they were in Buffalo, I think, today. So, making the border crossing at Queen Elizabeth Way. Try the restart again. We're 5 laps complete. Kinsey able to hold serve. Moore Sr. in second. Ray Ohm in third. Chapman wants the bottom step of the podium against the man that scored his first ever Rebels victory. Little sparks come off the floor. May have made some slight contact with the wall, but no harm, no foul. All is good. Final spot on the line here for a potential Renegades position. Fernberg trying to fight back. Gary Alpha with some front end damage. All is good on his end. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. John Tobias. Way slow, and Steve Maurer nowhere to go. And that was tight. That was crazy. Tobias is already completely damaged here. At this point, he should have already. You know, I kind of want to look at a replay here, and look at this. That's where the caution should have come out. He's just in the middle of nowhere in a blind corner. And Eldora can kind of be blind corners with the way these inside walls are set up too. So Tobias catches the wall. Gary Taylor puts him in there. And it's at this point where Tobias should just tote in the pits. He's got no steering in that number 21. Like you can see the right front. The suspension's completely gone. This is where you got to just jam on the brakes. And just put that baby in the pits. Instead, Moore and Kinsey nearly touch. Other one trying to take action. And then Maurer comes in there like that. Kinsey leading, Moore second, Rayom third, Chapman fourth, and Gary Offutt rounds out the top 5. We are 8 laps complete here in this 30-lap feature. A little bit more contact once again. Moore, slot trying to get that second spot. Rayom with the wall, though. And I think Scotty edged him out the line. Slide job by Moore helps him hang on to P2 for right now. On board with the 4 car. Can he get that runner-up spot from Brian Moore Sr.? More sparks fly. Here comes Chapman. He wants the bottom step of the podium badly. Brian Moore Sr. last time by. Quickest car on the track. 1382. And he is all over the tail tank of the 631 for the lead. Side by side for third. Rayom edges out. Slide job. Brian Moore Sr. to the lead. Kinsey crisscrossing. Oh, this is some epic stuff. Kinsey hanging on for right now. But what kind of a drive does the 55 get off for turn 4? More slide job for the lead. Can he edge him out at the line? Yes, he can. Kinsey tries once more. Another slider by the 55. And Moore Sr. taking the lead. Fernberg stays in 5th. Rayom in 4th. Top 3 still nose to tail. Moore, Kinsey, and Chapman. And this battle could get interesting with 30. Oh, Chapman caught the wall. Same way he did in his heat race. But luckily, they keep the wall ride there going to the corner. On board the back of the 55 or more. Kinsey still chasing him down. Gap at 4/10 of a second. $11 laps remain. Right now, final 2 spots still Scott Rayome and Steven Fernberg has now moved up to that final spot in. Here goes Chapman. Oh boy, nice slider for second. Kinsey sideways off the corner. And he hangs on. And they're working on Steve Mowers, a lap car without a top wing. And now can Chapman chase down Brian Moore Sr.? These two got into each other, racing for the lead at Charlotte. And then there was a little bit of aftermath in that too. Chapman wants a rematch here for this race win. 7 laps to go, the Big E. On board with the 72 car. And Shaggy, the quicker car than Moore Sr. 6 laps to go. Let's check the gap that time by. Chapman cut it down 2/10. He's going to pass him here in 3 and 4. They got to work on Maurer once again. Slide job by Chapman. New leader in Shaggy. But it's slide job city time. Moore with a slider. Shade similar to open 358s earlier tonight. Another slider by Zach Chapman. He's got Moore Sr. clear. The 72 leads with 4 to go. Hanging on, but Moore now trying to get a slipstream off of Zach Chapman. Peeks underneath. He's looking deep. Nearly clips the wall. Slider by Moore Sr. 3 laps to go at Eldora. Moore hanging on for right now. Slide job by Zach Chapman. And Shaggy clears. Moore really good straightaway speed for right now. He diamonds through turns number 3 and 4. 2 laps of race to go. Moore Sr. Chapman cuts the wall. No, they touch again. They keep it straight this time. Zach's lost the steering. Oh no. Oh, they get into blows again. And they were racing each other so good. And I'd watched this 72 quite closely. There's another look. So he catches the wall, and yeah, I think one came down, the other came up. I want a better view from our blimp. So Moore comes up. Oh, Chapman looked like he was holding his line, and yeah. I don't know. I hate to be the race. I hate to be the board here and figure that out. Damn. That's heartbreaking to see. Well, this now puts Gary Offut back into the top 5 now. All right, we're back to green. Sliding, Scott Rayome spins the tires on the jump. We're in overtime. It's 3 wide here. I think this is for 4th. Chapman trying to regain control. He's up to the 4th position. They're side by side. Off for the corner, white flag waves. Final lap for Brian Moore Sr. And it's been a while since he's won in coast-to-coast competition. The 55 leading by a half second. Makes his way through 3 and 4, sees the checkered flag. Brian Moore Sr. takes the win. Kinsey second. Chapman rebounded on the podium. Fernberg fourth, and Scott Rayome in fifth. Moore won a couple weeks ago in the 360. I need to look at the last time he has won on Monday Night Madness. Oh my, you know what? He's never won on a Monday night. How about that? We got a first-time winner. Brian Moore Sr. gets it done. Let me just confirm here he doesn't do any open 358s. He doesn't. So how about that? First-time winner on a Monday night. Brian Moore Sr. 2 for 2 on that. Trevor Giroux first off. Brian Moore Sr. second. Will we see it in the Renegades tonight? There's the top 12. Top 3 are all in. Let's get to the interviews here, and we will begin with the man that finished in third, Zach Chapman. I am gutted for you.
Yeah, I'll say it for you. I gotta behave because obviously I work here, but 2 weeks in a row, and that's why. Well, I'll admit I should have gotten a penalty, but sometimes us drivers got to take things into our own hands. And I guess that's a case of what you got to do sometimes. It stinks, but man, I've driven by him 2 weeks in a row now, clean, and then just floored. It's getting brutal, but it is what it is, Marty. Nothing I can do about it.
Have you gotten a chance to look at a replay yet, or no?
No, haven't gotten a chance.
Okay. Well, regardless, a great job coming back at least. From what things look like, you'll likely be in Renegades tonight. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
All my teammates at Gambler. You and Rob here, we had a good, and I did get to look at it. Obviously I do come down a little bit, but he was never going to clear me. That was never going anywhere. So, maybe a 50-50 thing, but after what he did to me last week, he should have.
Alrighty. We'll let you go.
Teammates, you guys, and you have a good night, Marty. Hope
yes,
to talk to you later.
You as well, Zach. Hopefully we'll talk to you soon. Great job. Chapman finishing third. Let's talk to the man that finished second. DK, Dylan Kinsey, I didn't expect you to be running a sprint car tonight.
Right? Surprise, surprise.
Absolutely. Take me through this run.
It was all luck. I had some coaching from Dean, too, while we were running it. So big thanks to him and Scotty. I don't run these that much. I just dabble in them. So whatever I can get is what I can get. Just all luck and, battling with Brian. I knew I wasn't going to hold the lead, but I just had to, put up some effort. So that was about all I had. Once the cushion got too high, I just wasn't comfortable getting that close to the wall because I run a modified so much. I'm not used to, I feel like I'm really close to the wall, but I'm actually far away from the wall still. So it is what it is. I'm happy. I'm moving on. So it's a win to me.
Can you clearly tell the difference between this and a modified?
Oh yeah, it's just everything's so much faster. Like you have to make a decision in like a split second. Like a modified, it's kind of like, you can see it come in and you can make a decision. But like here, it's like you don't even get a chance to think. You just got to make the decision, like almost like instincts. So yeah, it's fun. It's a little stressful. I'm sweating actually. Usually I don't sweat like this running a modified. So, but I realize these guys are aggressive over here, but I'm not really used to that. It takes me a while. I need some laps to settle in and get a good flow, but like you don't really have a chance here. You got to be on it right from the get-go. So it was fun, and I just hope I finish the feature in the next one.
Who do I give shout-outs to?
All the guys at FTM. Like I said, big thanks to Dean for pretty much being my spotter. Scotty giving me some tips. Gunnar at Swan Speed Shop. Dean Reynolds at Super Dirt Car, you, Marty, for the broadcast, and everyone at Coast to Coast that makes it happen.
Alrighty. We'll let you go. Great job tonight, and hopefully we'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Marty.
Dylan Kinsey, second. Let's go to Victory Lane. Let's talk with Brian Moore Sr. Brian, great run. Congrats on the win, but I think everyone knows the first question I'm going to ask you. What happened from your perspective in the race between you and Zach? That was such a great battle going on until the contact.
Well, yeah, and I felt like I gave him plenty of room on top, but he must have came down off the top there, and that's how we got contact. Because when I went to throw that slider, that lap, I don't know where that car came from. He must have pulled out of the pits, and that happened a few laps before when I passed Dylan. Was it Dylan?
Yeah,
For the
Kinsey.
lead?
Yep.
Yeah, when I passed him, there were, when I was working on him, same, there was a car came out of the pits, and then I lost track of where Dylan was because I was paying attention to the other car. And once I got by him, well, then I just left room on the top. I figured he'd go back by, which he did. But when I did that for Zach didn't go back by. He just, I feel like he came down.
All right. Well, glad to have gotten two sides on the story. How'd you feel though? Let's talk outside of that. How'd you feel your car was this whole tonight?
Oh, it's good. I felt pretty good in it. I got a hats off to Gary Offit there for helping me on my setup, because when I'm in here by myself, man, I second guess everything and I end up screwing everything up. So hats off to Gary tonight for his help. That really helped me. But yeah, it felt pretty good.
Well, who do you want to give shout outs to on the run?
Who is the sponsor tonight? Is it A&J Customs?
I believe it was Top Notch Trucking. I got to double check.
Okay, we'll give them a shout out and thanks for their sponsorship and all that good stuff. And I got to give a shout out to my brother Rick and Rona. They're always watching these things. They really like your comments, Marty. But yeah, I got to give Young Guns Creations a shout out for their rap they do for me. And yeah, I don't know what's going on with me and Shaggy there, man. Last week was kind of the same deal. I felt like I got underneath him and, but we'll go on and race next week.
Alrighty. Well, let's go. By the way, you and I were both wrong. It's Salty Dogs tonight, but hey, regardless, you got the win. It's your first one on a Monday night, too, so glad to see you get that done. Congratulations. Best of luck in Renegades.
All right, thanks.
Brian Moore Sr. gets it done here tonight, and we will step aside, go to break. Coming up, the Renegades of the Coast to Coast Racing Network. It's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network. Kiss on the champion. Trying to be a bit of a hiatus, so let's get.
Tonight we talked about it.
outpouring of love. It was amazing. These dollars had come together to support us, and we realized, no, we didn't want to use them for us. We wanted to use them to help others.
The foundation has done so much for so many people. It helps any family that has somebody, whether it be a crew member or one of the drivers, that get hurt. We can help them to get through the situation.
I was injured in a non-wing sprint car accident that broke my neck and left me with a spinal cord injury. I was in the hospital 8 months, and that got really, really expensive. So having that extra help to help push me and my family forward was a big deal.
I was involved in a pretty gnarly sprint car crash. Found out my brain was swelling and bleeding. Pelvic bone was broken. I had 2 cracked vertebrae on my back, and I was in the ICU a little over a week. The Steve King Foundation reached out to my parents. We received a donation from them. Immediately, they started me on what's called neurofeedback, and insurance did not cover the neurofeedback appointments. So we received another donation from the Steve King Foundation. It really helped a lot, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart to the Steve King Foundation for everything that they have done for me. This last Sunday, I got to turn laps in my modified here. That was my first laps back in a race car since the accident, and I truly believe that if it wasn't for the Steve King Foundation, I wouldn't be able to do that or be where I'm at today.
Yes, Steve's death is the reason the foundation exists, but it's Steve's life, and it's the lives of racers everywhere, is the reason we're able to do the work we do.
Welcome back on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Just about ready to go for Renegades here. And we're glad you could join us here once again. Marty Sakala with you on the call for Action of Renegades. Let's see who's checking in inside the chat. Gary Spengler checking in. Good evening to you too, sir. Hope things are going well with you. And hello to Hollow, as always, checking in. Enjoying the racing so far tonight. Well, Renegades set to go. 21 drivers with us. We'll have 3 heats this evening. And it looks like we are ready for qualifying. Point standings while we wait for the first driver to come out on the track. Blake Chapman, a 130-point lead on Joseph Grandy. That is pretty much the main battle here for the championship this season. We'll watch the high side banger Patrick Spengler, who is 3rd in the standings, coming out ahead. A winner, by the way, last weekend at Charlotte, Jesse Bandy, scoring his first win of the Renegades season. Spengler to set the bar here on lap number 1. He puts her at a 13:49 to set the bar. Bobby Good currently second quick. Here comes Spengler through turns number 3 and 4. Dittmer up to the 2 spot. Dean Reynolds now second. Spengler quicker, 13:45. So here's the 79 500s back on the field. If anyone comes in purple, we'll update. Bradway is 3rd. Dean Reynolds off of the corner of 13:539 on lap number 2. Grandy goes quick time. 13:420 for the driver of the 518. Great lap by him. Jack hit 4th. Great lap from him as well. Blake Chapman 5th, 13:486. Jeff Barker 3rd, 13:47. The second lap for Chapman is not better, 13:57 on lap 2. Jeff Barker 13:47. Chad Griggs back in the lineup. He's 7th on lap 1 at a 13:49. Brand new paint job with the Scott Thomason Racing number 27. Second lap time for Griggs is a little bit slower. The boss, Ross Corinna, off turn number 4 to the checkers. What's his lap time look like? Quick time! 13:418, 13418 for the boss, Ross Corinna. 3 drivers left to qualify here. And we will see if any of the 3 come out, but it's Corinna 13.418, Grandy 13.420, Spangler 13.454, Barker 13.470, and Scott Rayon 5th 13.486. Separated by about 0.3 of a second, and the top 10 off by 0.08. 22 drivers with us here tonight. It looks like we're ready for heat race number 1. Here's the starting lineup as Heat 1 brought to you by Gambler Motorsports. Brad Waite on the pole in the 814. Next to him is the salesman Blake Chapman, the 20, but typically we don't really see the salesman out here in qualifying. Row number 2, the Brute to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Next to him, it's the boss, Ross Corinna, in the 10. Row 3, Barry Goldner driving car 36. Next to him is Shaggy Zach Chapman, the 72. Final row tonight, the Desert Demon, Terry Landis, the 161. And the Lowline Master, Brennan Lacey, in the 114. Hollow is always in chat rooting for the Goose. Next week, Monday Night Madness goes to Volusia for week 10 of the season. One of my favorite courses, one of my favorite tracks. 7 p.m. right here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. After that, we go to I-55 for week 11. Final week ends off at Huset's. Alrighty. Winner on the pole here for our 35-lap feature tonight. We're green. Good jump from Brad Wade off at turn number 2. Corinna trying to counter it back. They go side by side to 3. The boss with a slide job on B. Brad Wade. The 10 car leads lap 1. Chapman 3rd, Barker 4th. They nearly touch for the spot. Shaggy still with that spot. Everyone luckily makes it into the show tonight with a car count of 21. 3 wide for nearly the 5th position here. Brendan Lacey hanging on now around the outside of Jeff Barker. The 4th spot is his. Here comes Wade again, testing it downstairs for the race lead. Corinna, quick time in qualifying, all ready from 4th to 1st. Lacey sliding in front of Zach Chapman. The 3rd spot is his. Wheel to wheel going into turn number 3. Lacey clearing Chapman for the 3rd spot. Chapman in front of Barker by 0.2 of a second. And now Lacey may have opened up the door for the 72 potentially. Brad Wade underneath, 2nd spot. Can he grab it off the corner? No, he cannot. 2 laps to go. Back to 3rd here. Chapman trying the slider on Lacey. The 114 still keeps the lane. White flag waves. Final lap underway. So the boss already with a win this season, leading by 3.5 tenths. On Brad Wade. Here he comes off at turn number 4 to see. Actually, correction, Corinna does not have a win yet. It's been close, though. He starts on pole tonight. Tonight could be the night. Wade 2nd, Lacey 3rd, Barker 4th, Goldner in 5th, and Landis 6th. So Heat 1 is done. We now move on to Heat 2 tonight, brought to you by Regency Farm, Regency Home Inspections. And look at the starting lineup. On the pole, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83 to his outside, Chad Griggs in the 27. Row number 2, Slide Job Scotty, Scott Riom in the number 4. Next to him, 100 grand, Joseph Grandy in the 518. Row 3, the Goose, Chad Cote in the 11 to his outside, Bob DeGood in the 7. And final car on the grid, Brian Moore Sr. riding the 55. Dittmer bringing back the Pizza Ranch scheme tonight. The Training Wheels racing number 83. Passed through 1 or 2 in Iowa. I forgot to go have one. I hear they're pretty good out there in the Midwest. Winner starts the outside of the front row here tonight. Dittmer and Griggs set to bring us to green. Heat 2 underway. Good jump from the 83 of declared Chad Griggs for right now. Side by side for third. Grandy trying to thread the needle here. 3 wide for second. 100 grand looking to go 2 for 1. Lap 1 led by Dittmer. Slide job look for Grandy. Touches with Griggs. Everybody keeps her straight. Nice slider by the 27 of Chad Griggs. And Griggs hangs on to second for right now. Ooh, Dittmer though caught the wall. Griggs to take advantage of a 27 car takes the lead away. Now can Dittmer rebound and reel in the 27 car once again. Cote third, Moore Sr. fourth, Grandy fifth, DeGood sixth, and Rayome in the 7th spot. Let's go on board with the 83. Dittmer trying to send it. Side by side in the back here for the 6th spot, meanwhile. That's the closest battle on track between Grandy and Rayome. Griggs, meanwhile, quickest car on track as Dittmer has regained the lead for the 27. 2 laps to go here in heat race number 1. Still Griggs edging out Dittmer by a hail slide job. Dittmer in the wall. They never touched. And Griggs was able to hang on. And that may have done it here in heat race number 1. Griggs using the low line, trying to save fuel possibly at the same time. Final lap underway, trying to prevent the slider line from working here. Griggs lifting once again. Does he have enough fuel to tank here? Possibly. Coming through 3 and 4. Checkers wave. Griggs wins the heat. Dittmer second. Cote third. Moore fourth. DeGood fifth. Rayome sixth. And Grandy in 7th. Now we move on to heat race number 3, which is brought to you by Maurer Farm Management. Rick Bain on the pole in car number 187 to his outside. It's Dean Reynolds in the 79. Row number 2, Gentleman Jack Hitt in the 217. Next to him, it's the high side banger, Patrick Spengler. Row number 3, the Pink Panther, Jesse X in the 127. Next to him, DK Dylan Kinsey in the 639. Running up the field, Steven Fernberg in the 29. No call for him on the grid unless he's not eligible to race tonight. Oh, come to green this time by Set for the green, heat race number 3, winner inside row 2. Here we go. Main with the slider up on Dean Reynolds, leading early. Jack hit side by side with the 79 car. Lap 1 led by the 187. Hit using the bottom line, see if he can work. Gentleman Jack hit. He alongside Dino were nearly 3 wide. Dean for the race lead. Can he get it here off of turn number 4? And the answer is yes. Dino out in front. Rick Main countering back with a slider of his own. He moves up to the front. Dino countering back downstairs. Slide job city early. Patrick Spangler normally doesn't like to race the heat race and have that challenge alongside Blake Chapman. He decided to take part in the heat race, see if he can help with his starting spot and maybe towards championship points too at the same time, where he's a bunch back on Blake Chapman after 2 straight incidents. Still 3 wide. Dino hanging on to that race lead. Main counter back with another slider off of turn number 2. On board Dino, utilizing the high side. Trailing Main by 0.2 of a second. And Main just ran the quickest lap last time by 13:55. And now Spangler trying to get a run here on Reynolds for second. Here goes the high side banger. Slide job for the 2 spot. They touch. Reynolds of the wall hangs onto it. And it didn't look like it actually didn't even do any damage on that 79 car. Looking at the front wing, all looks clean. White flags out underway. They may lose third, possibly to Jack hit. We'll have to see. Out in front, though, it's Rick Main in the 187. Spangler goes around. Oh, no. Dino gets collected. He's upside down. Second hit. Atkinson third. Kinsey fourth. Spangler fifth and Reynolds in sixth. Ah. We'll have to watch that again once this heads to warm-ups. But Rick Main, your winner in the end of Heat 3. Did he just go way too low? Yep, caught the left front with the retaining wall. Around he went. And Dino just had nowhere to go. Step aside for warm-ups here on the Coast to Coast Racing Network. Warm-ups wrapping up here as Ross Corinna quickest 13.919. Looks like we're ready to go here. Alrighty. Ready to go for feature time here at the Eldora Speedway. Let's meet the field and give you your starting lineup. On the pole, Ross the Boss Corinna in car number 10 to his outside. Chad Griggs in the 27. Row number 2, Rick Main in the 187, and next to him, Brad Waite in the 814. Row number 3, the Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer in the 83 to his outside. Gentleman Jack Hitt in the 217. Row number 4, the Lowline Master, Brendan Lacey in the 114, and the Goose, Chad Cote in the 11. Rounding out the top 10, the Pink Panther, Jesse X in the 127, and the Bird to Beast, Jeff Barker in the 513. Row number 6, Brian Morse Sr. in the 55, and Dylan Kinsey, DK, in the 639. Row number 7, Barry Goldner in the 36, and Bob D. Good in the 7. Row 8, the High Side Banger, Patrick Spangler in the 39, and the Desert Demon, Terry Landis in the 161. Row 9, Slide Job Scotty, Scott Riom in the 4, and Dean Reynolds, Dino in the 79. Row 10, it's Shaggy, Zach Chapman in the 72, and 100 grand, Joseph Granny in the 518. The last row tonight has Blake Chapman, the salesman, starting in the 21st spot. Picks to win here tonight. So we're 1 lap to green. I'm going to go with, you know what? I would love to see Blake Chapman go from 18th to win. That would be pretty cool. So you know what? Give me the salesman. Well, we're about to see what happens. For the final time tonight, fields in 3 and 4, it is time to shake and bake. Because where else would you rather be than right here, right now? Steve King Foundation Pace Truck is in from coast to coast. It's showtime of the Big E. Flatline Racing Bodies, green flag flies for 35 laps. Trouble already in the back. Dean Reynolds, Terry Landis got together. Landis is trying to get the car going. He needs to tow the thing or else go to caution. First yellow flag flies. That left front was damaged or was shaken up where at that point he should have really towed it into the pits. Well, let's show you the contact here at the start of this race. Ooh, oh, that was clearly neck code. Oh, man. Freaking neck code at it once more. Right on board with the 79. I don't know if you can see the neck code from here or if he knows it or not. He probably doesn't know that was neck code. Unless he's got the widest screen like I do. Watch the onboard Terry. Yeah, 100% neck code. Hollow, that's not chocolate milk. That's Yoo-hoo. There's a complete difference. Yoo-hoo is a chocolate-flavored beverage made of water, high fructose corn syrup, and whey. Or whey, whatever it's called. Whey. I don't know. Forget about that. Back to green. 3 laps complete. 2 laps complete, correction. Rick Mayne holding serve here. Waite and Dittmer battle for the second spot. See what the Spider Monkey can do around the outside, possibly. Ooh, he gets the wall. Actually may have gained some speed by hitting that. Just touching both wheels on it. Mid-pack, I think Jack Hitt looks like he's in trouble. He just lost a plethora of spots. Down into the 8th position for right now. Not too sure what happens. Side by side here through turns number 1 and 2. Lacey and Atkinson for 5th. And here comes Wade again for 2. Dittmer striking that wall once more. Wade edging out the 83 by a hair. And Dittmer just cannot be constantly hitting that outside wall. Dittmer clears. Beautiful pass. He's up to 2nd. But now Dittmer got the wall that time really good. Wade takes advantage of it. And now Jeff Barker in 4th. Great start for him. Starting to close in on Dittmer. Battles elsewhere. Atkinson, Corinna, Cote. That's the race for 6th. Here's the boss underneath on the Pink Panther. And Corinna moves up. Biggest mover already. Joseph Grandy in the middle. 3 wide. Nearly touches with Bob DeGood. The yellow flag waves here. And it's for Scott Rayome in his 2nd Renegade start after last week winning his 1st Rebels race. Car was already damaged. I'm not too sure for what. I don't even think he realized the steering is gone. Now he does. He had been limping that puppy around. Let's get a rewind here. Look at that. He's 3-wheeling it like a modified. He was racing with his buddy Dean Reynolds. Got the brakes, tried to save it, and got the wall, did the damage on the right front. And look at this. Look at this. Now he knows he's screwed. Try for this restart, and I believe they're going to keep it single file. I'm not too sure why. This should be doubled up. And Brad White's thinking the same thing I am. Oh, that's why. We're still 2 to green. All right, we're going to watch this restart from the aerial shot. Rick Mayne, Brad Waite, row 1. Mayne selects the bottom. Jeff Barker, Brandon Dittmer, row 2. Jesse Atkinson, Brendan Lacey, row 3. Chad Cote, Ross Corinna, row 4. Bob DeGood, Jack Hitt, round out the top 10. Wade checks out of the hotel, wasting no time. Wade up to 2nd. Here comes Brendan Lacey low on Jeff Barker. I wonder what Lacey thinks about Barker run up near the front. This is something he probably hasn't seen before. Barker has completely improved throughout Lacey's time away from the simulator. Must be catching Lacey by the eye. Here comes Corinna. Tries to look around the outside of Lacey. Now cuts downstairs. Beautiful diamond off at turn 2. Corinna make the move. He's up to 5th. Now he wants one more spot here on Jeff Barker. The 513 keeps her on the gas. 4 wide nearly off the corner. Here come Cote, Spangler, and Blake Chapman's up here as well. You know him and his comebacks, that's for sure. Still 3 wide. Cote gets a little bit sideways. He runs an 8th. This is a big mess on the track. Did they nearly make contact? They almost did. Oh, big wreck. Grandy in the wall with Spangler. And Grandy flipped hard. Side over side in the number 518. Somebody twitched. Or somebody's steering just instantly broke. Ah, you just caught the wheel of Jack Hitt. Ah! That's a heavy impact. And just lost complete control. Watch this. This is a heavy shot. Right there. But Spangler took a good impact too. Watch Spangler's shot here he takes. That's a big impact. And yep, that right front did damage. Did do damage. So Spangler had no choice but to use a quick repair. That's a pretty good long run there, that's for sure. While we wait to go back to green, schedule coming up the rest of the week that are being broadcasted. Tomorrow night is Old-Timer Tuesday. How to Second Eye Racing, bringing you the 358s at Eldora. Indy Cars at Talladega, plus the Xfinity Series at Bristol. Wednesday night, Hometown Heroes by Shaggy TV at Weed Sport. Thursday night Thunder, Adam Flieger's got the small blocks and the big blocks at I-55, followed by Shaggy with the late models of that same track. Next week, Monday Night Madness at Pevely, Missouri. Coming in lap 15 here. Another double file restart. Main checks out of the hotel, back to green. Dittmer tried for second. Corinna on the attack for that bottom step of the podium. He's got the preferred line off the corner. And Ross has third. Look at this mess. 6 cars under a blanket. This is for 5th. Blake just took them all away. Here comes Chad Griggs in the 27 in his return. He looks underneath on Hitt for a spot. They make contact. Hitt gets a little sideways and hangs on. That was ingredients for a 6-car wreck. Wow. That was great racing. Glad to see them all figure it out. Oh, they may not have figured it out right here. Bobby Good sideways. Catches Brian Moore. Everybody hangs on. Jeff Barker, Chad Cote, each have fallen down the grid for right now. Barker still a great run in 8th. Blake Chapman in 6th after starting back in the 24th position. Check that 22nd position. Here goes Griggs. He wants Dittmer for 4th. Brad Wade 3rd. Look at this. Corinna in 2nd. He's the quickest car on the track with 16 laps to go. A lot of time to catch Rick Mayne. Look at the lap times in these last few laps. Corinna could not have done that though. He's up in the wall. Look at this. Main picks up a little bit of time there. Wait, Griggs contact. Hang on. Oh no! Chapman caught up in it. Everybody saves it and keeps it straight. But that ends the huge charge for Blake Chapman. Spangler though goes around. No caution. We stay green. Oh boy, Blake could have used the yellow flag there because he kept it straight and he would have stayed inside the top 5. Cote 4th. Jeff Barker rounds out the top 5 now. Here comes Dean Reynolds up 12 after being involved in the lap 1 crash from the net code. Great comeback for the 79. He raises Gentleman Jack Hitt for position number 6. Brendan Lacey up there as well. Lacey up on the wall. He must be impressed to see Dean running well, and same with Jack Hitt. The gap now at 0.4 of a second. Let's look at those lap times once again. Corinna a quarter of a second faster last lap. That time by, though, Ross in the wall, he was 0.3 better. So every time Ross does not make a mistake, he's the quickest car on the track. Wait, maybe you may be using up his stuff here, perhaps. 10 laps to go. He needs Corinna to make a mistake, and he wins. If we get a yellow flag, it's Corinna's chance to shine. He wants the yellow right now. So Reynolds hanging on well in the 6th spot. Blake Chapman, after being involved in that near caution, just getting slowed up. Now stuck down the 13th position. Could be big implications toward the championship and will likely be a race for him to drop. Dean Reynolds, Brendan Lacey, that's for 6th. Dino right now the hard charger at the moment up 12. Let's go back up the front with 7 to go. Maine is in lap traffic. Barry Goldner, he goes past. Next up, Chad Griggs, and I can't believe I'm saying this, Patrick Spangler as well, getting put a lap down. Gap still at 7/10. Corinna up the wall, just cannot be making those mistakes. He needs to maybe run a half groove, full groove, lower perhaps, and he'll catch up to the 187. 5 laps to go though for Rick. And again, Corinna taps it once more. Reynolds getting past, I believe he got past another, no, this battle's still erupting. This is for 5th on the racetrack. Three laps to go for Rick. Gap has increased. Afterburners are on at 1.2 seconds. Rin would be the 4th for Maine in his career. All 3 done in a sprint car, and I believe all 3 as well done in the Renegades division. Brandon Dittmer as well, running in the 3rd spot. It would be his 3rd ever podium. He does have a win in the past at Williams Grove in 2022. But here's the driver, the Inferno Motorsports 187 through turns number 3 and 4. The checkered waves. Rick Maine takes the win at Eldora. Corinna 2nd, Dittmer 3rd, Cote in 4th, and here comes Dean Reynolds to finish 5th. So Rick Maine with his 2nd win in Renegades this year, and if he ever decides to able to get a full schedule going, oh, he's going to try and put this on victory lane backwards. I like it. If he ever decides to run a full schedule, he will be a championship contender without question. Look at this backwards move up. Nice. Nice, Rick. Slick Rick for you right there and taking the win. By 1.2 seconds on the boss. Dino, the biggest mover, up 13 spots to finish in 5th. Look at the cushion. Alrighty. Top 3 are already in. Let's go to Brandon Dittmer here, finishing 3rd. BD, a nice run at front. That's got to finally feel pretty good. It's been a tough season for you so far.
Yeah, it was really nice to finally get up here on the podium. It was an interesting little track. There was kind of a middle there for a while, and then it was mostly top. And a bunch of carnage happening all around us, but not a lot of cautions.
Absolutely. How much fun was this race as a whole?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. A lot of great racing. A lot of clean, for the most part, clean racing up front. Couldn't ask for much more.
A great run, though, that's for sure. Who do you want to give shout-outs to?
Oh, you for broadcast, everybody behind the scenes for Coast to Coast, making all this possible. Crap, I forgot who did this rap. I am going to hate myself. Training Wheels Racing, all the support over there. The FTM guys for letting me hang out with them tonight. I think that's all.
Awesome. We'll let you go. Great job tonight, and we'll talk to you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, Marty.
The Spider Monkey, Brandon Dittmer, taking the checkered flag in 3rd. And we go to the boss, Ross Corinna. Ross, a great 2nd place effort for you tonight. But do you feel like you maybe have had the fastest car late in the race, trimming down that lead on Rick?
I don't know. I'd say they were pretty even. If anything, he was kind of running it safe, and I was trying to hammer down the wall to catch him, and just got a little too aggressive there at the end and hit the wall a couple times, and then he told me there in the waiting room that he was watching his relevant and saw the car coming, so then he kind of moved up, and once he did, I couldn't catch him anymore either. So I think they're pretty even, and he didn't make any mistakes, and I mean, obviously, congrats to him on the win. It's a good run by him. So,
Were you considering going down like a half groove, if not maybe a full groove, to see if you could try and still trim that lead down, or no?
no, I think that's kind of the line he was running, and then he said it kind of went away a little bit, or he saw me coming, so he moved up. I don't know. I think the top was faster if you can run it right, and not bounce it off the walls, but. Just like I said, got a little too aggressive and couldn't keep it off the wall at the end there. So
Awesome run though for you tonight. Who do you want to give shout outs to?
Phantom Motorsports guys, Velocity Race Design, Power Outdoors, M9 Performance for the setups. You up in the booth putting on the show, and everybody at Coast to Coast.
Well, great run tonight, and we will talk to you hopefully next week once again.
Sounds good. Thank you.
The boss, Ross Corina, continuing to have quick cars week in and week out. Let's get the mouse here loaded up here. There we go. And talk to your race winner. Second time this season, Rick Main is in victory lane. Great car, starting third, finishing first. Take me through it.
Yeah, I mean, Carenta gave me a gift and let me start on the pole there. And, yeah, I mean, I was hitting that tack line until it disappeared. Late race, I could see Carenta coming. Well, I didn't know it was him until after the race, but I was like, man, I guess I got to go up and start pounding the cushion a little bit. And then I rode a big wheelie down the backstretch. It scared me, so I moved down the track again.
Ross Corina was closing in on, and it seemed like if he wasn't making any wall scrapes, it looks like a close battle between you two for the win.
Yeah, Ross was telling me, I'm getting a little better too, so, maybe I'll have to do that back row challenge with those boys once in a while, but if they're going to give me a gift, I'm going to try to win a race. I don't win too many races, so I got to take them when I can get them.
Well, next week we go to Volusia, a track that you're very good at as well. You've won there in the past. How do you feel going in?
Yeah, I always like Volusia. I'm better at these bigger tracks, minus Williams Grove. I can't figure that track out, but yeah, the bigger ones in the real small bull rings normally fit my driving style, so I'm excited to go to Volusia. We'll see what we can do, and hopefully I'll be talking to you again next week, Marty.
Absolutely. Who you want to give shout outs to?
Let me not. Hey, Chase at GRB Designs, baby. I didn't forget you this week. Sorry. He made my new paint scheme for me, and I'm so used to thanking Don, so I got to make sure Chase was getting a shout out for my new paint. Him, all the guys at Inferno, we help each other out a lot. Those guys have helped me get a lot better. Highline Cinematography, and all my guys at Hinkle Homes, you guys up in the booth, and just C2C for being awesome.
Congratulations on the win. Well done, sir.
Thanks, Marty.
Rick Main's second win of Renegades this season. And so for that, we will bid you adieu here on this fine Monday night. Again, thanks for joining us this evening. We will talk to you next Monday night from Volusia Speedway Park as we sign off here from Outdoors. It's been a great week, great night of coast-to-coast action. And thanks for joining us here tonight. On behalf of everyone here at the Coast to Coast Racing League, all the fine drivers and sponsors and our great admin crew, Marty Scala saying so long. Congrats to your winners. We had first-time winners at Open 358 and Rebels, Trevor Giroux and Brian Moore Sr., and in the Renegades, it was Rick Main. So long, everyone.